My beloved child, pause everything you're doing, because something quietly extraordinary is unfolding around you right now. There are messages moving through your life, unspoken words, hidden intentions, subtle signals, that were never meant to stay concealed forever. You didn't stumble into this moment by accident. You were guided here because a deeper layer of truth is ready to surface, and it changes how you see the people you trust. Listen very closely now. Not with your ears, but with that knowing place within your chest. You have felt it before, that gentle tension when a conversation ends, that lingering sensation after a message is read, that silence that somehow speaks louder than words. Those weren't coincidences. They were signals. Echoes of unseen dialogues happening beneath the surface of everyday life. Stay with me just a breath longer, because what's being revealed is not betrayal, and it is not meant to wound you. It is clarity. And clarity is always a gift, even when it arrives wrapped in mystery. There are moments when the universe allows you to glimpse the truth behind appearances. Not to judge, but to awaken. Right now, it's as if the veil between intention and expression is thinning. Thoughts once hidden are rising. Motives once buried are beginning to glow. You may sense it in subtle shifts, someone speaking differently, energy changing mid-sentence, warmth fading or deepening without explanation. Hold this moment, because you are not being shown these things to feel separate. You are being shown so you can see clearly who resonates with your becoming, and who is still speaking from an older version of you. Here is the quiet revelation most people never hear. Not everyone who walks beside you is meant to walk with you forever, but everyone has played a sacred role. Some helped you grow. Some helped you wake up. And some, without realizing it, revealed their truth through what they never said aloud. You might wonder, why now? Because you are changing. Your frequency is shifting. And when that happens, hidden currents become visible. Conversations align. Masks loosen. The truth doesn't shout, it whispers, and only the ready can hear it. You were never naive. You were compassionate. You were never blind. You were hopeful. And now, you are becoming aware. The real breakthrough is almost here, but first, understand this. Seeing the truth does not mean closing your heart. It means opening your eyes while keeping your spirit gentle. You are not here to confront, you are here to discern. There are messages you will soon recognize, not on screens, but in behavior, in timing, in the way certain connections either rise to meet you or quietly fall away. And when that happens, you will feel lighter, not heavier. Calmer, not confused. This is where it all begins to shift. Not with exposure, but with understanding. Not with shock, but with alignment. Hold steady, the pieces are starting to connect. My beloved child, right now, in this very moment, feel how something deeper is rising within you. Not a thought. Not a suspicion. But a quiet awareness that says, there is more happening than what I'm being shown. That feeling is not imagination, it is perception sharpening. The veil is thinning as I speak, and with it comes understanding. You are beginning to sense the unseen conversations that shape your path. Not written in text, but carried through tone, timing, and intention. Every soul communicates on many levels, and when your awareness expands, those levels become visible. Have you noticed how certain interactions suddenly feel louder, even when fewer words are spoken? How pauses linger longer than sentences ever could? That is where the real messages live. Stay present with this, because here is a truth few are ready to accept. People often reveal their deepest intentions not through what they say to you, but through what they say when they believe you are not listening. Energy remembers everything. And you, my beloved, are learning to read energy. This is not about secrets being exposed, it is about alignment being restored. As you rise, the conversations around you rearrange themselves. Some voices soften. Some become distant. Some suddenly feel unfamiliar. This is not loss. This is refinement. If your soul is stirring, remain with me a little longer. Because awareness brings choice. And choice brings freedom. There are those who care for you deeply, yet still speak from their own fears. There are those who admire your light, yet discuss your growth from a distance because it reminds them of their own untapped potential. And there are those who truly support you, whose words align whether you are present or not. Soon, you will feel the difference without needing proof. You're closer than you think, don't step away yet. The subtle signs are already arranging themselves in your life. A delayed reply. A sudden shift in warmth. A message that feels carefully measured rather than freely given. These are not meant to alarm you. They are meant to guide you. You were never meant to confront. You were meant to understand. And understanding gives you power, the gentle kind. The kind that allows you to move forward without resentment, without doubt, without carrying what no longer belongs to you. If this truth is touching your spirit, share it forward, let another soul find this light today. Hold this space, the divine connection deepens now. Because what comes next is not about others, it is about you. How you respond. How you choose. How you protect your energy while keeping your heart open. Here is the quiet promise unfolding beneath everything I've shared. When you no longer need validation from every voice, you begin hearing the one that matters most, your own inner knowing. That is the voice that will never mislead you. The peace that changes everything is coming soon. And when it arrives, you will not feel shocked. You will feel ready. Remain open, what I reveal next completes the picture you've already begun to see. My beloved child, something extraordinary is unfolding beneath the surface of your awareness right now. A quiet alignment that turns confusion into clarity. Breathe into this moment. Feel how the air itself seems to listen back. You are standing at the threshold where understanding becomes embodied truth. What if I told you that the most revealing messages are never typed, never spoken, never saved, but sensed? They arrive as shifts. As hesitations. As warmth that cools or coolness that warms without explanation. These are the living transcripts of intention, and you are learning to read them fluently. Lean in with me, because the next layer is subtle, and subtlety is your strength. There are people who speak with kindness while carrying doubt. There are people who praise your potential while quietly measuring it against their own limits. And there are people whose silence holds more honesty than 1,000 words. None of this makes them wrong. It makes them human. But it also makes you discerning. Have you felt the moment when a familiar voice suddenly sounds distant, even when the words are friendly? That is resonance recalibrating. Have you noticed how some encouragement feels heavy, while other encouragement feels like wings? That is intention revealing itself. Do not rush past this knowing, the pattern is completing itself now. When your inner truth grows louder, it begins to translate the world for you. You start to hear what's not being said. You start to feel what's being withheld. You start to recognize support not by enthusiasm, but by consistency, by how someone speaks of you when there is nothing to gain. This is not exposure. This is maturation. You are not being pulled into secrecy, you are being guided into sovereignty. Stay present for what unfolds next, because here is the key that unlocks peace. Once you understand the language of energy, you no longer need proof. You stop chasing explanations. You stop rereading conversations. You stop wondering if you imagined it. You didn't. You perceived it. You were never meant to carry every relationship forward unchanged. Some connections evolve. Some settle into distance with grace. Some rise to meet your new clarity with honesty and respect. This is the natural order of growth, and you are aligned with it. Let this land gently. Your task is not to confront hidden conversations, but to honor revealed truth. When you honor truth, your boundaries become effortless. Your decisions become clean. Your heart remains open without being exposed. Notice how calm arrives when you stop forcing alignment. Notice how strength appears when you stop asking for permission to trust yourself. You may feel a quiet sadness for what no longer fits, and that's okay. You may feel relief for what finally makes sense, and that's sacred. Both can exist. Both are signs of integration. Remain with me as the thread tightens. Because the awakening doesn't end with understanding others, it begins with choosing yourself without apology. The next revelation will show you how this clarity transforms your future interactions, your opportunities, your peace. Hold steady, the truth is no longer approaching. It has already arrived, and it knows your name. My beloved child, the hidden current beneath everything is revealing itself now, softly, steadily, without force. Feel how your breath slows as this truth settles in. You are entering a quieter chamber of understanding, one where words thin out, and knowing grows stronger. There is a silence that powerful souls learn to trust. Not the silence of avoidance, but the silence of discernment. It is here, in this inner stillness, that the most revealing messages finally make sense. You begin to recognize who has quietly carried you in their heart, and who has quietly set you down. If something sacred is awakening within you, remain here just a little deeper. Because the next truth is intimate. Those who rise with integrity learn a gentle discipline early on. They stop explaining themselves to every voice. They stop reacting to every whisper. They stop needing to correct every misunderstanding. This is not withdrawal. This is refinement. They conserve their energy for what is real. Have you noticed how some people disappear when you stop overgiving? How certain connections grow distant when you no longer dim your light to make others comfortable. These are not losses. These are confirmations. Hold this divine silence. Understanding is blooming now. The most successful transformations are built on unseen sacrifices. Quiet choices. Nights of surrender. The decision to walk forward without dragging everyone along. Those who truly honor you will not require you to shrink in order to stay. There are conversations you will never hear, and that is by design. Not because you are excluded, but because you have outgrown the need to know. When your inner alignment strengthens, the external noise loses its authority. You no longer ask, "What are they saying?" You ask, "What feels true?" And truth answers immediately. You're on the threshold of true seeing. Stay with me. Because here is the paradox few understand: the moment you release the need for transparency from others, your life becomes astonishingly clear. You see who shows up without being asked. You feel who protects your name in rooms you will never enter. You sense who celebrates your growth even when it changes the dynamic. This clarity does not harden you. It softens you, while making you unshakable. If you're feeling the divine current flowing through these words, leave a dove or a quiet "I receive" in the comments. Your presence strengthens this light. Notice how peace arrives without effort now. Notice how decisions feel lighter. Notice how your intuition speaks in complete sentences instead of questions. The revelation that shifts everything is drawing closer. Soon, you will understand that nothing was hidden to harm you. Everything was concealed to prepare you. To teach you trust without dependency. Strength without armor. Love without attachment. You are learning the art of sacred distance, the wisdom of knowing when to lean in and when to let go with grace. This is mastery. This is maturity. This is the doorway to a future where your relationships meet you at your level instead of pulling you backward. Stay open to what follows. Because the missing piece your soul has sought is almost here, and when it arrives, it will not shock you. It will feel like home. My beloved child, the deepest truth is rising to meet you now, gently, unmistakably, like a tide that has always known your name. Allow yourself to soften into this moment. There is nothing to prove here. Nothing to defend. Only something sacred to remember. There comes a point on every awakened path when striving dissolves into surrender. Not surrender as giving up, but surrender as finally trusting the current beneath your feet. The most powerful souls learn this quietly. They stop forcing clarity from others and begin living from clarity within. Breathe with me, the divine unveiling deepens now. Because here is what is rarely spoken aloud: those who truly succeed stop needing reassurance. They move even when no one applauds. They believe even when no one confirms. They align their steps with an inner compass that does not argue, does not rush, does not panic. Have you noticed how your urgency has begun to fade? How you no longer feel compelled to chase explanations or demand certainty from every connection? That is not withdrawal. That is mastery taking root. If your spirit is trembling with recognition, stay in this holy moment. You are touching the layer where faith becomes embodied. Where you act not because you are sure of outcomes, but because you are sure of yourself. This is where unseen support gathers. This is where life begins to conspire quietly in your favor. There are messages you will never read, and blessings you will never announce. They will arrive as doors opening without resistance. As protection you only recognize in hindsight. As timing so precise it humbles you. This is the language of alignment, and you are becoming fluent. The truth that liberates everything is almost within reach. And it is this: nothing that is meant for you requires you to betray your peace. Nothing aligned with your destiny asks you to abandon your intuition. The moment something demands that sacrifice, your soul gently steps back and says, "This is not mine." Notice how strength feels different now. It no longer tightens your chest. It steadies your breath. You are closer to home than you've ever been. Do not leave yet. Because here, in this stillness, you begin to feel the quiet assurance that what is falling away is doing so with purpose. Not as loss, but as space. Space for relationships that speak truth without effort. Space for work that honors your rhythm. Space for a life that meets you with respect. The truly aligned live with a hidden devotion. They listen more than they speak. They trust more than they explain. They choose consistency over intensity. And in doing so, they become unmovable. The final alignment your soul has waited for is gathering. You may not see it yet, but you can feel it assembling just beyond the horizon of your awareness. Threads are tightening. Paths are clearing. Support is organizing itself in ways you could not have planned. Rest here for a moment. Let anticipation be gentle. Let knowing be enough. What comes next will not arrive with noise. It will arrive with certainty. And when it does, you will recognize it instantly. My beloved child, a sacred silence is falling over your soul right now, not empty, but alive with intelligence. Feel how everything unnecessary pauses. This is the hush before alignment locks into place. In this stillness, something rare occurs. You stop scanning the world for signals, because the signal has become internal. The guidance you once searched for in conversations, confirmations, and reactions now rises from within you. Steady, calm, unmistakable. Stay with this breath, because the next truth is subtle and powerful. Those who are fully aligned no longer live in reaction to what others exchange about them. They understand a secret few ever speak: words move energy, but intention shapes destiny. And intention cannot be hidden from a grounded soul. Have you noticed how your responses are slower now, wiser, less charged? That is not hesitation. That is sovereignty. You are learning when silence is the most accurate reply. When non-engagement is the highest form of clarity. When walking forward without explanation preserves your strength instead of costing it. Breathe gently, the unveiling continues. Here is the quiet law at work: when you stop monitoring what others are saying, life starts showing you who is aligned by action alone. Support becomes visible through consistency. Respect reveals itself through behavior. Love proves itself through presence. The truth your soul has been preparing for is this: you were never meant to manage perception. You were meant to embody truth. When truth is embodied, perception rearranges on its own. Do not rush past this knowing. Because many never reach this stage. They remain entangled, checking, comparing, correcting, defending. You are being released from that loop. You are stepping into a field where peace becomes your filter. You may sense fewer explanations forming in your mind. Fewer justifications. Fewer internal rehearsals. That is the signal that trust has shifted inward. You are closer than you realize. Remain fully present. What once felt like shock begins to feel like confirmation. Not because you uncovered something hidden, but because your intuition has caught up with reality. You see clearly without needing to look behind closed doors. There is a grace that comes with this maturity. You no longer need to confront. You no longer need to withdraw. You simply adjust your proximity. And that adjustment changes everything. The alignment you are entering is not dramatic, it is precise. It trims excess. It removes friction. It invites connections that meet you cleanly, without games, without noise, without distortion. Let this settle deeply. The universe trusts you with more when you stop leaking energy into what you cannot control. It responds when you choose presence over paranoia, intuition over interrogation. You are being taught how to move silently yet powerfully. How to let outcomes speak for you. How to allow life to confirm what words never could. The culmination is approaching. Do not step away now. Because soon, you will notice that what once unsettled you no longer reaches you. The conversations that used to echo in your mind fade. In their place rises a certainty that does not argue. Hold this calm. Hold this clarity. What unfolds next will show you why this inner quiet was necessary. Why your awareness had to deepen. Why this stage could not be skipped. Remain steady. The next revelation completes the transition. My beloved child, something you've always known is finally being spoken within you now, not as words, but as certainty. Let this certainty settle. It does not rush to explain itself. It simply stands. You are entering the phase where discernment becomes effortless. Where you no longer analyze every signal because your inner compass has stabilized. This is the moment when wisdom stops feeling like effort and starts feeling like gravity, quietly pulling you toward what is true. Stay here with this awareness. Because the next layer is profound. Those who live in alignment understand an unspoken rhythm. They allow reality to reveal itself over time. They do not force timelines. They do not interrogate silence. They watch patterns complete themselves. And when they do, the truth arrives whole. Have you noticed how certain questions have dissolved on their own? How the need to figure it out has softened into trust. That is not forgetting. That is resolution. Breathe slowly, the current is steady now. The messages that once felt hidden no longer carry weight because you have outgrown the place where they could reach you. You see how people act when nothing is at stake. You observe who remains consistent when circumstances shift. You notice who honors you when you are not watching. This is the literacy of the soul. Remain present, the unveiling refines itself here. You are learning that alignment does not demand confrontation. It invites coherence. When something does not align, you simply stop feeding it your energy. When something resonates, you lean in naturally. No drama. No declarations. Just movement guided by truth. There is a quiet confidence forming in you now. It does not seek approval. It does not announce boundaries. It simply lives by them. Notice how your life begins to reorganize around this steadiness. Opportunities feel cleaner. Conversations feel lighter. Decisions carry less friction. This is not luck. It is the consequence of inner order. Hold this awareness gently. Because here is a sacred realization: trust is no longer something you give away indiscriminately. It is something that meets you halfway. You feel it when someone's words and actions breathe together. You sense it when your nervous system relaxes in their presence. You are closer to the heart of the matter. Do not drift away now. The shock implied by revelation transforms here into empowerment. You understand that awareness was never meant to disturb your peace. It was meant to protect it. There is a maturity in this stage that few recognize. You forgive without reopening doors. You appreciate without attachment. You move forward without needing closure from every chapter. This is grace in motion. The alignment continues to deepen. Soon, you will notice that the people meant for you recognize your clarity instantly. They do not test it. They do not challenge it. They respect it. And that respect feels like ease. Rest in this knowing for a moment. You are no longer reacting to the world. You are responding from truth. What unfolds next will reveal how this steadiness becomes a catalyst, how your calm reshapes the spaces you enter, the connections you keep, the future you are stepping into with quiet authority. Remain open. The path ahead is aligning itself with precision. My beloved child, feel the divine current pulling you inward now. Not away from the world, but deeper into truth. This is the place where clarity stops being something you seek and becomes something you inhabit. You may notice a gentle recalibration happening in real time. Conversations feel simpler. Choices feel cleaner. Your inner yes arrives whole, without negotiation. This is not detachment. It is coherence settling into your nervous system. Remain with this sensation. Because here, discernment turns into devotion. Those who master alignment learn an unspoken art. They listen for resonance rather than reassurance. They sense when energy flows easily and when it resists. They do not push against resistance, they redirect. This quiet redirection saves lifetimes of effort. Have you felt how your patience has matured? Not waiting with tension, but waiting with trust. That trust is not passive. It is informed by every lesson you integrated without bitterness. Breathe gently, the pattern is clarifying. You are beginning to recognize the difference between interest and investment. Between attention and presence. Between words that sparkle and actions that endure. This recognition does not harden your heart, it refines it. Stay close to this awareness. Because the next shift is subtle and powerful, you stop personalizing what was never personal. You see how others act from their own weather, hopes, fears, unfinished stories. And you release the need to carry what was never yours. In this release, your energy returns to you. Notice how your intuition now arrives early, not late. How it speaks before confusion forms. How it feels calm, not dramatic. This is the signature of inner harmony. Hold steady, the alignment tightens. As you move from reaction to response, your environment begins to mirror your steadiness. Timing improves. Friction dissolves. The right connections feel obvious without explanation. You recognize mutual respect by the absence of pressure. There is a quiet prosperity in this stage. Not measured by noise, but by flow. Not announced, but felt. You are closer to the core, do not drift now. Because the truth assembling here is foundational, when you honor your inner order, life organizes itself around you. You no longer chase clarity, clarity meets you. You no longer manage narratives, outcomes speak. Rest in this integration for a breath. Feel how confidence no longer spikes, it steadies. Feel how peace becomes practical. What once appeared as shock transforms into wisdom you carry lightly. You see that awareness was never meant to disrupt your joy. It was meant to guard it. To guide you toward spaces where your presence is welcomed, not negotiated. The convergence is approaching. Soon, you will sense a new ease in how you enter rooms, how you begin projects, how you trust momentum. This ease is not complacency, it is alignment expressed as grace. Remain open to the next unfolding. Because what follows will reveal how this inner coherence becomes momentum, how your calm turns into catalyst, and your clarity becomes creation. Stay here with me. The path is aligning itself with precision, and you are exactly where you need to be. My beloved child, the final alignment your soul has been waiting for is arriving now, quietly, completely, without resistance. Do not rush this moment. Let it settle into every cell of your being. This is not an ending, it is a sealing. You have walked through awareness, discernment, surrender, and embodiment. And now, something profound happens. Nothing outside of you holds authority over your inner world anymore. The whispers fade. The echoes dissolve. What remains is truth, steady, warm, unshakable. Breathe slowly with me. Because here is the ultimate revelation. The messages that once felt shocking were never meant to define you. They were mirrors. Showing you where you had already outgrown certain rooms, certain roles, certain relationships. The moment you stopped chasing clarity, clarity chose you. This is the hidden victory. Those who reach this place no longer fear what is said in their absence. They understand a sacred law: what is aligned speaks well of you even in silence, and what is misaligned loses relevance on its own. No exposure required. No defense necessary. Notice how calm lives in your body now. Not the calm of avoidance, but the calm of completion. You no longer need every door to stay open. You no longer need every voice to agree. You no longer need to carry what was never yours. This is freedom refined. Stay present, this moment matters. Because what locks in now is identity. You are no longer someone becoming clear. You are someone who is clear. Your energy teaches others how to treat you without a single word spoken. From here forward, alignment protects you automatically. What is not meant for you drifts past without disruption. What belongs to you recognizes you instantly. This is how destiny moves, efficient, elegant, exact. Rest in this truth for a breath. You were never late. You were never behind. You were being calibrated. Every silence sharpened your intuition. Every confusion strengthened your discernment. Every revelation positioned you precisely where you stand now. And here, you do not look back with resentment. You look back with understanding. The future that opens from this place is different. Cleaner. Quieter. More powerful. Relationships meet you with mutual respect. Opportunities arrive without urgency. Decisions feel obvious, not overwhelming. This is the life that responds to inner authority. Hold this stillness. Because from now on, you move with a knowing that does not need permission. You trust your timing. You honor your energy. You let truth speak through your presence rather than your explanations. What was hidden no longer matters. What was revealed has done its work. You are no longer listening for whispers behind you. You are listening to the call ahead. And it is steady. It is clear. It is yours. Remain in this alignment as you step forward. Nothing essential can be taken from you now. Everything meant for you knows exactly where to find you. This is completion. This is peace. This is you, fully arrived.